Yo, what's happening? So, I've been reading this prescription for nutritional healing, this anti-aging manual, the gross anatomy book, the medical dictionary, and I'm trying to figure out all these different things that I'm going through. Another book that I've been reading is called The People of the Lie, right here. And it's a pretty dangerous book, I think, because it opens up so much to where you could almost even like point the finger at all of these people. And I've been looking at my whole life, I'm still stuck on certain things. And now that I'm home and I'm not in this area where like the Wi-Fi is pinging through me, I run the cable 300 and something feet, the Ethernet one. I mean, it's still buzzing in here. You can still feel it. But what I'm getting at is that once my mind cleared from the whole incident with the guy in the G20 van, and I got out here and I was thinking about everything, I was like, holy shit. It's a mirror, like all these people that you're tripping on, like your mom. And I've mentioned this before, but I've never like fully felt it. And one of my best friends, what's up, Obi? Yeah. So I'm kind of learning that it's like the shit you're tripping out on it's the stuff you need to work on. Because I had my best friend from my childhood that's still alive. Yeah, wow, huh? Yeah, Obi. He means so much to me, and he helped me through so many things in my life, from even when we were younger till all the way up to now, and still is. We talk every day on the phone, and he taught me a bunch about cars, where I don't know anything about it, and he was very patient with me and showed me all these things. But then later we got to a point where I hadn't been smoking the weed for quite a while. And where I was at that point in my life, and I was foraging all this food out by his house and medicine to bring back here, like Mullen and a bunch of other things that I got. What all did we? I don't even remember. But we went skateboarding, and like my energy was totally different. And I remember the point I was at in my life, but it was too difficult for certain people to be around me because I was just fully sober. And then later I started kind of like looking at my friends that were stoned all the time. And I was like, because I've been smoking weed again, and it's not helping. And I'm conscious of it. Same with the coffee. It's like, this is what's causing the skid outs and the weird thought things. And let's say when I'm drinking turmeric and, these anti-inflammatory things and not all this, it's like I'm in tune with all this stuff. So I came back here and I was in tune with everything. And then when I got back on the weed and the coffee today, because I had to work on stuff and I was sore, and I just thought about that dude that I met at the beach. And then I started tripping even more. I was like, if I came home and I just got stoned again, who's to say he didn't just get drunk again the next night? And the whole time I was there, I was thinking about, well, dude, this guy should get arrested for a DUI. And but then I was like, who am I to even judge? He said he lives literally a block away and he can just walk home. So, and I'm like, I don't know. Because, my best friend Joe Raby died from a drunk driver. And so I thought all these different things, and I thought of times in my past when I should have gotten in trouble and I didn't get in trouble. And how I was like open heart, human to human, without any of the, policy stuff and all of that. But also it was like I was trying to not judge that guy. But then here I go and make a YouTube video. I show his van. I'm showing where I spend half the time, when I'm not at home. And I'm just like, what is all of this? Like, what is all of this? It's time that I totally hold myself accountable if I'm going to say anything about anybody or anything. And I need to make sure that I'm practicing what I preach, because that's what I learned from my best friend in my childhood. Was, we're kind of like not even talking at this point. And this just happened a little while ago, but it's the understanding that we're all on different zoom-in zones. We're all going to different places and experiencing different things and reflections, probably of one another. And so if I'm going through these things where I'm spending my time trying to help my mom, or to tell him something that would help, what I felt deeply in my heart would help him, and then I catch myself just doing the same thing again, and I'm like, oh, dude, are these not all signs to just like look at what's going on with all these other things and not react and not be affected, and be like, oh my goodness, this is what I'm dealing with? And maybe you'll find the answers from within, from your experiences in the external. But yeah, I felt a ton of guilt. I don't have a cell phone, so I was like, dude, I can't call the cops on this guy. Like, I can't even. I just want to make sure that he's like safe. And I didn't even think about when his friend came to help tow him out. I knew they weren't going to figure it out. It was like he had his Dale Earnhardt jacket on, and I was like, there's hope. Maybe they'll figure it out. But looking at the car that he brought, there's no way they could get the G20 out. So with the G20 still being there in the morning, I just figured, the dude said what he was telling me is, I got to walk the dog home. So he was just walking home, and, I have no control over what his buddy was doing or whatever. And I don't even know if his buddy, they just, I know the guy that had, I don't know, this is the trippy thing. I don't know shit. He had just told me he'd had a rough day and that he had been drinking, and I didn't smell it on him. He wasn't going 100%. I know that, but I'm not a cop. A policeman. I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not playing God for other people. And that's what it made me realize. It's like, I can't even say shit to my mom about, like, Mom, you should be eating better. Mom, try this. I tried it. It worked. It helped me. Because most of it's me just wanting to say what I experienced. And here I am. I'm back at home just getting stoned, drinking coffee at 5:04 p.m. As I just read, most anxiety comes from the caffeine and all this stuff. And I read that in those books. And, dude, my body feels haggard. It feels so haggard. And when I was stretching and eating really pure food that didn't have, like, we're getting to that point again where I'll be able to eat berries all the time again, and the mushrooms. And I have mushrooms from last year, which is still cool. And I found one more thing of the dehydrated pears. So, the point I'm getting at is, like, I don't know what's going on. I'm grateful that I've been able to show my journey so just other people can see, like, it's not perfect. And I think that's why I was trying to show that video of the guy in the G20 is like, man, we all just gotta, like, be sympathetic for each other and help each other out. I don't even know what I'm saying. It's not that. I don't know any of it. I'm just trying to, maybe I'm learning I should just mind my own fucking business, and not even trip on things, and not even, what is this that we're showing videos of stuff? I was trying to show art and just real stuff. And, like, at film school, I was going to do a documentary on all the drug addicts I knew that lived on East Hastings, because I had to walk East Hastings to school every day in Vancouver. And the school wouldn't let me because they were like, it's unsafe. And I was like, but these are real stories, man. This guy's telling me about how he moved here. He lost everything because his wife had cheated on him. And so then he just partied too hard that night. And then that carried on over into some of this stuff. And then that carried on to this. And then next thing he knows, he's getting rid of everything. And he was a professional mountain biker and all these things back in Ontario. And he lost everything. And then he'd rollerblade down the hill on East Hastings. And then his shoes would be gone. And then his rollerblades would be gone. And you're like, dude, every day his shoes or his rollerblades were gone. So I asked him, like, what happens? And he's like, well, I do this speedball thing or whatever. And then I go crazy. He's like, I don't even know what happens. Do you want to watch and I'll document? And I was like, yeah, I'd like to do it for my school project. So I filmed, like, the whole thing. And then I took the idea to the school, and they're just like, no, no, no way. And I was like, but this is real life. And I ended up having to work as a sound person instead of directing that one. I kind of got pushed out on all that, and I did a sound thing on a guy who invented the goalie pads, the butterfly style goalie pads. And then we met Bill Ranford, who won the 1984 Stanley Cup with the Edmonton Oilers. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. And we interviewed him. And I was a really good sound guy. So I think I just saw so much on East Hastings. And maybe that's what this is. It's like, maybe this is finally trying to show me that I don't need to be doing, these coffee talk things, even though it feels good for me to just get the stuff out. Maybe it's time I finally write the book. Because I haven't been writing lately. Same with the music. I haven't been writing any of the songs. I'm not writing anything down. I'm just playing it. I'm just rambling. And maybe it's time I slow things down. Today I had a really good breathing session where I just sat down and focused on my breath, and I could clear everything out. And you might get into that rhythmic happening when you're writing. And maybe I'll just write it all out by hand instead of a typewriter, because then you're writing it, Alright, there's your 5:08 p.m. coffee chat. We're going to try to get the Intertron going and get this thing up, and maybe we'll make more, maybe not, who knows. But you go enjoy your day. That's what this is about, is finding some form of joy, or just experiencing the whole thing as what it is. Alright, have a good one.